we start to have a aerial view of time and the revelation given forth from heaven, there's one thing that we can start to see, is that the revelations of John, of Jesus Christ specifically, what we end up seeing in Luke, as well as in Mark, he shows us and he gives us evidence of the end of times. We end up seeing the revelations where John shows us the seas. We can end up looking towards Daniel and the time. The main thing is actually the understanding of the Temple Mount itself in Israel. It's one thing to be able to see the joining of the United Arab Emirates and another from Israel, but also to understand that it's so much more than us taking up a defense system and putting in a pact of peace, but also to understand within that peace and also the restoration of the Temple Mount itself is given forth to the 1,294 days given forth within Daniel. So when we start to see the Temple Mount being restored, we can understand that there's a sign of the end times. It's another thing entirely to understand that there is actually signs within the heavens. But furthermore than looking towards the constellation of Virgo or the celestial alignment, what we can also end up seeing is that for the first time, there is actually within this world, what we end up seeing is so much of this world is in suffering. We have a economic crisis, we have a cultural crisis, we have a climate crisis. Everything that we are looking towards is building forward and restoring the world that we have. And in fact, we can look back into other ideological systems such as the Mayans, for instance, where they ended up having it to where this was actually the showing forth of the beginning of a new epoch in time aligned with the celestial alignments of the heavens. So to understand that there is a new epoch, a new time, and that we are building forth that foundation to have that understanding through the scriptures, the revelation of the prophets, and the given revelation of Jesus Christ. Within that, through the observance of what has been given to us from Christ himself, we can have an idea of the coming of the end of time, specifically in keeping our eyes on Jerusalem and the Temple Mount itself. When we start to observe this, it is key for us to keep our eyes on the Temple Mount and to understand that when we see the restoration of the temple, it is giving forth a sign for that coming revelation of Daniel. My prayer for you today is that you end up receiving that revelation from the scripture and that we have an eye on the world. We have an eye on God and we have an eye on his word. That we sow it in our heart and that we understand that and receive that revelation given forth from the divine and from the scriptures and the prophecy of Jesus Christ. If it is in the times, what better time to receive Christ? I want to give you that opportunity. If you've never asked Christ to come into your life, if you've never received the Spirit of Jesus, I want you to proclaim that Jesus is Lord. Bring that love into your life and give that restoration for you, for your family, and for everyone around you. God bless. God bless America. And I'll see you.